Holiday stress is not something you get, it's something you create. I wrote this little gem on Facebook 8 years ago. Unlike other things I have shared on social media in the past, I actually still agree with this one. I believe that along with the incredible challenges we have faced over the last year and a half, that we have also been provided with some clarity. Clarity in what matters and what we should prioritize. After years and years of holiday stress, rinse and repeat, we had an opportunity to streamline, to simplify. And I know for me, I'm not ready to go back to the way things were. Today marks the first episode in our series, The Grown-Ass Woman's Guide to Thriving Through the Holidays. Therapist Melody Murray is back with her brilliant take on all things finding sanity through the season. This is The Grown-Ass Woman's Guide. I'm your host and guide, Jackie McDougall. Grown-ass women are notorious for getting it all done, especially when under pressure. And that's never been more true than during the holiday season. But what if this year we took care of ourselves first? It's no secret that we give better when we feel better. And Kindra is all about helping us feel our best selves, mind and body. Give yourself the gift of Kindra's science-backed products, education, and community to help you thrive through the holidays. Don't we all deserve that? Get 20% off at ourkindra.com with promo code GAW20. That's ourkindra.com, promo code GAW20. Before we dive into today's much-needed episode, I wanted to share a little something happening over at grownasswoman.guide. Our holiday gift guides are packed with ideas for the grown-ass woman on your list. And if that includes yourself, no judgment here. Gifts for the active woman, the career-focused entrepreneur, and a few self-care splurges that will bring joy to your world. Visit grownasswoman.guide for more. Happy shopping! Okay, let's talk about holiday chaos. We know we don't want to go back to it, right? But before we can make a commitment to skip the stress this year, we first need to know why we insist on creating it in the first place.
I think it's the pressure that's put on us to be all things, to do all things, and then we just run with it, unfortunately. A lot of it's self-inflicted. Some of it is just competition between women. All of that shit needs to go away.
Therapist Melody Murray says it only takes one of us to start a chain of change.
Like with all things, I think whenever someone stands up and has a differing opinion and then other people say, I believe that too, I think that way too, it gives permission for everyone else to do something differently. So that's what I really wish would happen more, where people would be really vocal about what they're doing that's against the grain.
What if you and I, right now, in this moment, were the first to decide, not only are we not going to do the things that just don't work for us, but we're going to share that with others. I'm totally in if you are. But if you're not quite there yet, just know you're not alone. I recently asked the Grown-Ass Woman community, what is in the way of you enjoying the holidays, feeling your most confident grown-ass self? Julie says she gets super stressed around the holidays. Christmas was her mom's favorite holiday, so since she passed, it's more of a sad day than a happy one, which brings on the guilt. Also, she feels like she gets gifts for everyone in the family, but she's the one who's often overlooked. What would you tell Julie?
I would tell Julie, sorry, Julie, about your mom passing. The holidays come with so many expectations and so many memories attached to them that sometimes we take on the pressure of trying to recreate things from the past. And that is impossible. So I would just say, Julie, do exactly what you want to do. But know that even though this was your mom's favorite holiday, you can decide that this holiday means whatever you want it to be. You can create new memories associated with this holiday so you can bring the joy back. Because I doubt your mom would want you to be sad during the holidays. She would want you to enjoy it. But feeling guilty about having a good time, that's a very common thing. But guilt is wasted energy. Guilt buys you nothing. So I say redefine the holiday, redefine what it means to you. When it comes to gift giving, I made this stance several years ago where I feel that Christmas is for children. Christmas is for kids. And so you could make a stand and say, I'm only going to buy things for anyone 18 and below, 17 and below. You can make that stand and everyone will understand. Because if you're an adult, you should be able to buy whatever it is that you want. And there's so many dumb gifts that people buy, like things that you just don't need because you feel like you need to give someone something. But that doesn't help anybody. You're helping to keep clutter going, and then you're spinning your wheels, spending your money on something the other person can most likely live without. So maybe make that stand and just say, you know what, I'm only buying for kids, because if the kids don't buy you a gift, you get it because they don't have jobs or cars.
Damn freeloaders.
Freeloaders, your broke ass best friends. So I think that gift thing, I've been down that road before, giving gifts to people and going, wait a minute, what about me? I just stopped giving the gifts. I have a brother who I absolutely love, but he's very self-centered and he doesn't recognize anything that's happening in anyone else's life but his own. And one year he asked me, Mel, what did you get me? And I said, I got you the same thing you got me. And I just stayed silent.
Crickets.
He sat there and he looked around. I'm like, just call it out. Call it out. Just, do what you want to do. I think that's the most important thing. Do what you feel is right. And when you know that you're being overlooked by people, pay attention to that. Don't buy that person a gift again. Sometimes you can't lead by example. Sometimes people just don't give a shit, and you've got to pay attention to that so you're not constantly frustrated with the thing that you're constantly frustrated about.
Right.
Pay attention and then do something differently.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of experiences. And obviously last year that wasn't as much of an option, but coming up with something where everyone pays their own way, but this is going to be our gift to each other, some sort of experience.
Experiences, I think, are pretty fantastic because it is something that lives with you so much longer than a scarf. So I am a big fan of the experiences. And then people can decide if they want to participate or not. I think that's a great way to go.
I really hope this is helpful, Julie. Next up, Kathy. Kathy wants to reinvent her traditions completely, but can't figure out what that could look like. She says she'd be happy to forego all gifts, simplify decorating, and postpone gatherings until after the holidays. Kathy's got 2 adult kids who each have 4 families to make the rounds, plus her boyfriend's kids have 3 places to be. She's concerned she's lost connection with the holiday.
Wow, Kathy, that does seem overwhelming, but I think that kernel of an idea, run with it. Absolutely run with it. There's something inside of you that's telling you to just pare it all down and simplify everything. Trust yourself. And remember, it doesn't have to be any particular way other than the way that you want it to be. And it's going to evolve year after year. It's going to evolve. I love the no present thing. I'm a big fan of that. And then also just, read in the room. You just said how many stops other people have to make. You can take yourself off of somebody's schedule to release yourself from any stress and release them from any stress. And you guys just pick another day. Just pick another day to get together, and it could be an experience. It doesn't have to be the whole hardcore gift giving, but you decide. You get to decide what this time means. You get to decide if it's a frustrating, stressful time or if it's relaxing and just hugs and watching movies in matching pajamas. You get to decide.
I love that. One year, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law couldn't come for Thanksgiving. And so we ended up doing Thanksgiving the Sunday before. And it was a really great day. And then Thanksgiving came and we just had a small, just the 5 of us dinner. And it was kind of the best of both worlds.
Nice. And you know what? You're extending the fun that way. Yeah. If it's all on one day, then it's all on one day. And there's so much pressure on that one day. But if you move things around a little bit before, a few days before, a few days after, that's how I celebrate my birthday. My birthday, I celebrate for a whole month, 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after. I want to feel loved as long as humanly possible. So I spread it out. So why not spread out the holidays too?
When it comes to the self-induced pressure, Melanie, she's completely over it. Bake the cookies, send the cards, do the shopping, all the wrapping, meal planning, shopping prep. She is so overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed just reading this. Melanie wishes she could go away for the holidays, skip the tree and gifts, just eat good food and enjoy each other low-key.
Trust yourself. Go away. Go out of town and have that great meal and wear flip-flops and do exactly what is in your heart to do. When it comes to these major lists of all these things that we put upon ourselves to prepare for a situation, you got to ditch the list, because a great way to think about it is no one knows what they're not getting.
Say that one again, Melody.
No one knows what they're not getting. So you put all that pressure on yourself to create this experience, but you're driving yourself crazy. And someone may shrug at it. They may not even notice this gesture that you made. And if it's not there, they're not going to miss it. I had this conversation with one of my clients. She was preparing for a wedding. She's a teacher. She's also studying for the boards. And she was so overwhelmed. But I said, no one will know what they're not getting. So don't put pressure on yourself to be Martha Stewart in a situation. She's got millions of dollars and a whole crew of people. It's just you. You strike a whole bunch of things off your list. And a way that I like to do that is whenever there's that feeling of overwhelm and anxiety, literally write down everything that is swirling in your head. Write everything that's on your mind. And it's not really a journal exercise. It's just to validate the overwhelm. And you can
brain
look and
dump.
see, it's a brain dump. So you can look and see, no wonder I feel this way. Look at all the stuff that's just running around my brain. But here's something you can do to triage all of the things that you feel you have to do. I call it the 4 Ds. The first D is for do. Do all the self-care things. Do the massages and the walks and the gym and the wine with your girlfriends, all that beautiful, amazing, relaxing stuff. Also do the things that you have a hardcore deadline on. So if you get a deadline for something within 48 hours, do those things. Mm-hmm. But then divide everything else in the other Ds. The next is delegate. Who else can do what you feel you have to do? Who else can host that party? Who else can do this pickup and this drive? Who else can run these errands? Figure out who else can do this thing that you feel that you have to do. Delegate. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like who else can bake these pies? Costco can. Great.
Exactly. Just
thank you, Costco.
Tag off. Thank you, Costco.
I don't even go as far as taking out I'm just like, they do it just as well as I would.
Yes, that's exactly right. And you're showing up unstressed with Costco in your hands. That's how you show up at a party. The third D is delay. We have a tendency, whenever we've got these to-do lists, we have a tendency, our brain will register it all as it is all imminent. We have to do it all right here, right now, today. No, look at your list and see what can be done next week, next month, or next year.
Yeah.
Delay. And the last one is don't. What don't you have to do? And don't could be the good stuff too. You could just decide, I'm not going to that party. Mm-hmm. It's too far. I'm going to have to drink and I don't want to drive. I don't want to buy these people gifts. I don't feel like dressing up. Don't go. Mm-hmm. Dump stuff, dump events, dump people, dump some responsibilities, dump it. If it's not feeding you and if you know it's not going to bring you a chuckle or a warm heart, dump it.
Right. And I feel like last year was the reset button in that a lot of these things that we felt so compelled that we had to do, we couldn't do. And so ride that wave. I believe it gave us permission to not continue what we were doing for, even if it was for years and years and years, because people have short attention spans. If you didn't last year show up and have everything Martha Stewart, then you don't have to do that this year either.
Absolutely. We are still in a pandemic. Milk that to your advantage.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm one of those strange people that thought, obviously not knowing the major fallout and the deaths and all the destruction and all the horrible things that have happened, because it has been devastating. And I don't want to minimize that.
Yes.
But I do believe certain things happen that can bring about an opportunity for change. The world did this collective pause. We had to reprioritize everything. Mm-hmm. Why not hold on to those changes that you made? Why go back onto the hamster wheel of stress and overwhelm? You've got the opportunity to do things differently.
Yeah.
Keep doing things differently.
You're absolutely right, because I think we discovered last year specifically that some of the things that we were doing no longer worked for us, even though they may have at one point. And so to go back to those now, that's crazy.
100%.
continuing it, I understand, but going back to it is another thing.
And some people are doing it. With some people, chaos is very familiar. And that is a sad thing, but you have to look at what your patterns are and what is the upside of going back to the past. How does that help a situation? But this is an amazing opportunity. Now we're a second year in a row. You're still in a pandemic. You can stay at home. You can decide not to shop, not to wrap presents. If you care about the environment, decide not to wrap presents. Decide not to use wrapping paper. Hand stuff to people if you want. Throw a ribbon around it if you need to. But because they're just going to rip it off anyway. It's all going in the trash anyway.
Yes. I started using bags a long time ago, gift bags. But first of all, I'm terrible at wrapping. It looks like a 4-year-old did it. Not even a 4-year-old human, like a 4-year-old monkey. But secondly, it's just, I don't enjoy that. But here's the flip side I want to point out. If you are listening right now and you're like, I love baking, I love wrapping, I love shopping, there are people out there.
Do those things. If that's your self-care, if it brings you joy, do it. Absolutely do it.
We're not saying no one should do it.
Exactly. Do what brings you joy. Do what makes you smile. But if you find there are certain things that you feel that you have to do and it stresses you out, don't do those things.
Yeah.
Trust your body. And that's the thing, that when we have that irritation, the aggravation, the frustration, when you notice there's something that you feel you're supposed to do and you feel like crap about it, pay attention to yourself. Your body is telling you something. It's your job to listen.
So good. And Melody gave you permission. So do what feels good. All right, I've got a couple
to the
more.
Therapist.
Yes. Last one. Jody says, I've decided my word between now and January 1st will be intentional. I'm going to work hard on boundaries and keeping some obligations off my plate. I will make a list every Sunday night of 4 to 5 things my heart wants to work on each week and try hard to stay true to that. Nobody's going to miss the Christmas card, annual family portrait, hostess gifts, another baked good. I want to see what it's like to not do these things and make sure I fill my time with high value, good feeling, and good for me tasks instead.
Mic drop. Jody is my spirit animal. 100%. Do what you feel you want to do. That's exactly right. I like that, being intentional, because we've been off the hamster wheel for close to 2 years now. And I think that it's important to not fill up your plate with a bunch of different things that you feel that you have to do. Making the decision to do what is in your heart, I think, is the best way to go. And if you have children, think about it this way. Sometimes it's harder for us to make changes, but if we think about our children going through the same things, it can be easier. Do you want your children to be running all over the place and spinning their wheels and being exhausted and stressed out? Do you want your children to go broke buying that sweater set that no one's going to give a shit about?
Right.
Do you want your children to collapse at home after going to event after event after event? Do you really want them to be that stressed out? Now imagine that you are that child. What's it worth? What's the point of it all? You need to be having a good time. This is your time. Every day is your day. And every time you do something that will service other people and you really don't want to do it, what you're saying to yourself is that other person is more important than me. And do you really want to send that message? Is that actually true? You have to create those boundaries for yourself. And it's actually hardest to enforce boundaries with the people that are closest to us. But that's when boundaries are most important, because boundaries are self-protection, self-preservation.
Right.
So you need to figure out a way that you can take care of yourself, and understanding too that sometimes it's harder to set boundaries with people who have none, who don't respect boundaries. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't set them. It means that you set them, you express them, and if they don't follow those boundaries, it gives you evidence as to why you need to adjust that relationship.
Yeah, I love that.
Every right to protect yourself.
This is so good. And this is the perfect way to kick off this series of Thriving Through the Holidays, because, there are just things that we can be doing after the reset that feel good. We don't have to go back to that. This is an opportunity to learn what we want and what feels good. Speaking of boundaries, Melody suggests creating them on your calendar as well.
Look at your calendar and make sure that as you're putting in all those social events onto your calendar, make sure you leave in gaps to breathe, gaps to do nothing. Yes. The power of nothing. Because I think that that's something that gets lost during the holiday season. Like everyone kind of exhales on December the 26th. Some don't. And most people aren't working during those 2 weeks of Christmas and New Year's. That time is supposed to be, I feel it's supposed to be rest and recuperation and reconnection. Don't forget that. You're supposed to be rejuvenating yourself and your spirit. It's not all about buying stuff. So make sure that you are planning downtime. And on the up, make sure there's some down.
So maybe you're listening and thinking, but, I can't say no to a holiday party, can I? Yeah, you can.
People will understand if you don't show up. If the party is about you, I could understand you don't want to hurt someone's feelings. But the thing is that when you know the party is going to happen, whether you're there or not, that gives you permission to stay home. Do what you want to do. People will get it. And there is that pressure like, oh, I don't want to let that person down. I can understand not wanting to let a child down, but an adult, they can handle it. Don't inflate your importance. That's a really important thing to keep in mind. A lot of people do that. They feel that I've got an invitation, I have to go. But if you go and you have a pissy attitude, then why are you there? That's what you're going to spread around. I'm exhausted. I'm stressed out. I really don't want to be here. I saw a funny t-shirt last week. The t-shirt said, I'm late because I didn't want to come.
Accurate.
Accurate. Stay your ass at home.
Yeah.
Stay home. We're still in a pandemic.
Yep.
Stay home.
And finally, what about those family traditions? We can't possibly not continue those, right? They started decades or even longer ago.
Here's a way to think about tradition. Tradition, those are the rules of dead people. Rules set by dead people. That's what tradition is. So do you want dead people to be in charge of your life, to be in charge of your menu, to be in charge of your social calendar? Do what you want to do because you are living in today. Do what you need to do today. It is a new day. You don't have to be stuck with things that were done decades ago that just don't fit anymore.
Wow. Let's just sit with that one for a minute. I hope this episode has helped you decide how the next several weeks will look for you. Please share this with a friend. Heck, share it with someone you don't know. I just appreciate your sharing the episode. And if you feel inspired, also share a rating and review on your favorite podcast app. I wish you the absolute happiest holiday season, and I strongly encourage you to prioritize you. You are worth it. And please come back next week. We'll continue the Grown-Ass Woman's Guide to Thriving Through the Holidays with episodes on communication, sometimes with those difficult family members, plus tips for building true confidence and a home you will want to get all cozy in. Until next time, remember, you are a grown-ass woman. Act accordingly. Spring has sprung, and with the change of seasons, sometimes comes an increase in vitality. If you're feeling in the mood for a little more personal time, may I suggest Coconut. Coconut is all about providing clean and natural ingredients when you're enjoying your most intimate moments, with or without a partner. Naturally safe products developed by people who are obsessed with quality. Get 15% off with promo code GROWNASS at grownasswoman.guide/coconut. That's 15% off with promo code GROWNASS at grownasswoman.guide/coconut.